Is the European Union facing its absolute darkest hour? Tonight, the foundations of Brussels are shaking and the air in the Parlement building is thick with panic. We are witnessing a political earthquake of a magnitude never seen before in the history of the bloc. The narrative was supposed to be simple. The European Commission would crush dissent, financial penalties would be enforced, and Hungary would be brought to its knees. But today, the script was not just rewritten, it was thrown into the fire. Viktor Orbán has not just survived. He has delivered a fatal blow to the current administration in the European Court of Justice. This is no longer just a diplomatic spat or a debate over rule of law mechanisms. This is a total, unmitigated disaster for Ursula von der Leyen. Sources deep within the EU capital are reporting chaos behind closed doors. Emergency meetings are being called. Aides are scrambling to control the narrative. And for the first time, the word resignation is not just a whisper from the opposition. It is a terrifying reality echoing through the halls of power. The mainstream media is scrambling to spin this. They want to tell you it's a minor technicality. They want you to believe that business will continue as usual. Do not believe them. What happened in that courtroom today has stripped the Commission of its armour. It has exposed a vulnerability so deep that it threatens to collapse the entire house of cards. If the rumours are true, the verdict implies not just incompetence, but a systemic abuse of power that could lead to criminal investigations. Why is the Commission President silent? Why have the press briefings been cancelled? What exactly did the Hungarian legal team present to the judges that turned a guaranteed EU victory into a humiliating defeat? We are looking at a shift in power that could redefine Europe for the next 50 years. The globalist elite thought they were untouchable, but today they looked mortal. Buckle up, because we're about to tear apart the official story and look at the brutal reality they don't want you to see. Is this the end of the von der Leyen era? To understand the sheer scale of this catastrophe, we must look at exactly what transpired inside the Grand Chamber of the European Court of Justice, ECJ, at 9:30 a.m. this morning. The case, officially filed as C459/24, was expected to be a routine dismissal of Hungary's appeal against the freezing of cohesion funds. Instead, the presiding judge delivered a verdict that sounded less like a legal ruling and more like an indictment of the European Commission itself. The court ruled that the Commission's application of the rule of law conditionality mechanism was not only procedurally flawed, but arbitrary, politically motivated, and lacking evidentiary basis. This is the nuclear option. The judges have essentially declared that Ursula von der Leyen's team fabricated the grounds to withhold over 22 billion euros in funding from Budapest. But the money is the least of their problems. The Protocol 19 leaks. The turning point came when Orbán's legal team presented a cache of documents now being referred to as the Protocol 19 files. These are not public records. These are internal, classified communications between the Commission President's cabinet and key figures in the European People's Party, EPP. According to leaked summaries, these memos detail a coordinated strategy to starve the Hungarian economy to force a regime change. One specific email, allegedly dated October 2024, explicitly states, "The legal grounds are irrelevant. The financial pressure must be absolute until Budapest breaks." If verified, this is a direct violation of the EU treaties. It transforms the Commission from a guardian of the treaties into a political hit squad. The courtroom reportedly fell into stunned silence as the Hungarian Justice Minister read the excerpts. The Commission's lawyers, usually arrogant and prepared, were seen frantically consulting their phones, visibly shaking. They had no rebuttal. The Pfizer connection resurfaces. It gets darker. The verdict explicitly referenced the ongoing investigation into the Pfizer vaccine contracts. For the first time, a legal body has drawn a direct line of causality between Orbán's refusal to support the joint procurement secrecy and the subsequent financial punishment of Hungary. The court demanded that the unredacted text messages between von der Leyen and Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla be placed into the evidence record for a separate tribunal. This is the thread that unravels the entire sweater. If those texts are made public, we are looking at potential corruption charges, not just political resignation. Financial panic and political betrayal. The markets reacted instantly. By 11 a.m., the euro had dipped 1.4% against the dollar, a massive fluctuation for a single morning. Institutional investors are spooked. They realize that if the ECJ can rule that the Commission acted illegally, then every financial penalty levied by Brussels in the last 3 years is up for litigation. We are talking about a liability exposure exceeding 150 billion euros. Politically, the rats are already fleeing the sinking ship. Sources in Paris indicate that Emmanuel Macron has refused to take von der Leyen's calls since the verdict dropped. He knows she is radioactive. In Berlin, the opposition AfD is already calling for a parliamentary inquiry into Germany's complicity in these illegal sanctions. Even within her own party, the CDU, silence reigns. Manfred Weber, usually her staunchest defender, has issued a statement saying only that they are analysing the complex legal situation. That is diplomatic code for "you are on your own." The ultimatum. The most damning moment came just an hour ago. Roberta Metsola, President of the European Parliament, was seen entering an emergency meeting with the leaders of the Renew and S&D groups. Leaks suggest they are drafting a motion of censure, a vote of no confidence. The last time this happened was in 1999 with the Santa Commission. They resigned en masse before they could be fired. History is repeating itself, but with far higher stakes. This is a total systemic failure. The values they preached about, democracy, rule of law, transparency, have been weaponized and exposed as tools of control. Viktor Orbán didn't just win a court case. He exposed the hypocrisy at the heart of the European project. The Commission is currently in lockdown. No staff is allowed to leave the Berlaymont with documents. Security has been increased. They are shredding the evidence, but it is too late. The verdict is in, the world is watching, and the Queen of Europe has no clothes. We are standing on the precipice of a geopolitical abyss. The events of the last 24 hours have shattered the illusion of European unity. The verdict from Luxembourg is not just a legal defeat. It is a signal flare to every sovereignist movement across the continent. If Viktor Orbán can defeat the combined might of the Brussels machine, the floodgates are open. Consider the implications. If the Commission is proven to have acted illegally, what happens to the Green Deal mandates? What happens to the Migration Pact? Every directive forced through under the guise of emergency measures is now legally suspect. We are looking at a potential cascade of lawsuits from Italy, from Slovakia, perhaps even from the Netherlands. The centralised power structure of the EU is cracking under the weight of its own hubris. But do not be naive. Power never concedes without a fight. Ursula von der Leyen is cornered, and a cornered animal is dangerous. Will the unelected bureaucracy simply step down? Or are we about to see a clampdown so severe it makes the previous sanctions look like a warning shot? There are already whispers of emergency powers being invoked to bypass the Parliament entirely. They might try to frame this crisis as a foreign interference plot to justify suspending normal democratic processes. The question you need to answer is this: is this the beginning of a reformation or the beginning of the end? Can the European Union survive if its leadership has lost all moral and legal authority? Or are we witnessing the slow, painful disintegration of the post-war order? Look at the silence from the mainstream leaders. It is deafening. They are waiting to see which way the wind blows. But the people are not waiting. The trust is gone. The veil has been lifted. We want to hear from you. Is Ursula von der Leyen finished? Or will the deep state in Brussels find a way to keep her in power to protect their secrets? Does this verdict vindicate Hungary, or does it endanger the stability of the entire continent? And most importantly, if the EU collapses, what rises from the ashes? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. This story is developing by the minute. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because when the next shoe drops, you will hear it here first.